The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello and welcome, everyone. Welcome to our TrackVia webinar. We're going to be talking about our new UI on web and mobile. So let's get to it. A little bit of introduction and some welcome messages. First and foremost, just a reminder to everyone that is here in the webinar, you are on mute. If you do have any questions as we're going along, please type it into the chat box and we will try to address it. If we don't get to your question, we are logging all the questions and somebody from TrackVia will reach out to you, either success manager, implementation, or account executive. So my name is Anchal Kumar. I'm on the product team here at TrackVia. I mostly work on the web experience, and I'm here with my colleague Harlean.
Yes, hello.
Hey, Harlean, how's it going? The webinar is being recorded, we will share that recording to everyone, all the registrants, within 24 hours. So if you need to step away or if someone on your team wasn't able to make it, be on a lookout for that, and we'll make sure that we get you that recording so you can review it at your leisure. Okay, so the main reason we're here today is we want to talk about some new updates to TrackVia, and specifically around our user interface. And a lot of us, may differentiate between the user interface and user experience. User interface is really about the look and feel of the product you're using. And at TrackVia, we've been making some updates both on web and mobile that we're really excited to share with everyone here today. So first and foremost, why are we even talking about this? Why did we take on the effort of making some updates to our UI? Well, at the end of last year, we sent out an admin survey to many of you, and I think many of you probably responded to it. And we asked you, what was the number one thing that you're most interested in TrackVia working on in the next year? And the number one thing that we heard from our customers, such as yourselves, was a more modern design. And we thought that was really interesting. And we're like, well, what does that really mean? What do people mean by more modern design? And so we started talking to our customers and asking them, what do you actually mean about that? And we realized a few things. One, TrackVia as a company has been around for over 10 years. And but our current product has been around for over 5 years, and we haven't really made any changes to the experience of TrackVia. And over those years, a lot has happened and a lot has changed in the world of user interface and user experience. There's been a lot of best practices put in place, a lot of pushing the ball forward. All of us have used, our social media apps and our travel apps and all these different apps in our daily lives. And TrackVia, from an experience perspective, has kind of stayed the same. So, we thought that was really important that we should start addressing. The next thing we really heard about was that the cognitive load. And when we talk about cognitive load, what we really mean by that is that in TrackVia today, when you're looking at a dashboard or you're looking at the product, there's a lot of data. There's a lot of data that's compressed really hard into a small space, such on your screen. And sometimes it can be hard to scan and understand what's going on that data. And that's really impactful, particularly for our end users, right? The people that you build your applications for. When they're looking at grids, how are they scanning across all the data that's contained there and processing data? And so we want to figure out how can we reduce the cognitive load of those end users so that's easier to use and they have a more pleasant experience while they're using the applications that you've all built. So, thinking about our web users even further, right? A lot of you are admins, or a lot of us are admins, right? We have, full access to building all the resources in TrackVia that we might need to. A lot of us are advanced users, right? We can access all those tools. And, on the web at least, right? We have bigger screens. We're typically sitting at a desk. And those are all components that built into how we started thinking about our overall user interface. From a principles perspective, these are some of the things that we kept in mind as we started thinking through the design side of making some updates to TrackVia. Number one, best practices. I mentioned that earlier. We have pulled in, our design team has pulled in a lot of the best practices that have been built and established over the last 5 years on how best to communicate data and build applications. And we drew inspiration from some of our favorite social media and travel apps. We thought about white space a lot, and that kind of goes into the idea of reducing the cognitive load. If we can let things breathe a little bit, that'll really make it easy for our users to be able to understand the data they're looking at. And then we really thought about things like typography, color, shadow, elevation, all these smaller UI treatments that put together make a big impact for our end users. And so what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to switch over to a real TrackVia application. And here we are. This is our real TrackVia application. This is an example application that I built in my own personal account. It's an inspections app. We've got different roles associated with it, different manufacturing inspections that we want to do for quality control. And this is probably representative of some apps that the folks on this call have built, right? We've got some grid views, we've got a map, a chart, some shortcut panels, a flow button, etc. Right? We even have a lane view down here. And so when we looked at this, right, we're like, well, this is a good modern web-based product, but we thought that there's definitely we could apply some of those best practices and some of those principles that we discussed earlier to TrackVia to really update the interface for it. One of the things that I didn't mention that we kept as a principle was minimize functional changes. And the idea behind minimizing functional changes, we wanted to make sure that TrackVia still worked like TrackVia does, right? We want to minimize any training impacts that you might have for your users, and make sure that when we roll TrackVia out or the new version, this new UI out, that when your users log in that next day, they're easily able to know what it is they need to do and use TrackVia exactly as they were able to before. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch over to the new UI. It's going to be this exact same application with the exact same data, and you're going to see the new UI treatment to this exact same app. And I'll start pointing out a few things that are important. And here it is. This is the new UI for TrackVia. And you're looking at it, you're probably like, oh, wow, that looks like TrackVia. It's still the same. It is. There are a couple of small changes. I mentioned we try to minimize functional changes. There's a couple I'll point out to you. But first, I'm going to take you through a little tour of their new UI. So one of the things we talked about was white space and letting content breathe a little bit, right? Reducing that cognitive load. So, a couple of things we did is we added a little bit of padding on the sides here, right? So it's no longer the screen goes edge to edge. We did think a lot about, how can we maintain the amount of data you have on your screen while also sort of, playing with this white space side of it. And we found a really interesting dichotomy there, right? We add a little white space, we lose a little bit of data. So we really play with that a lot and tried to maximize the amount of data you could have while still trying to, reduce that cognitive load side of it. And we got some really great feedback from our customers on this. So one of the things you'll notice, right, from the number of rows here in this grid, same number of rows you would see in the other experience, right? We have the same number of rows here, right? But we added a little bit of padding in between each of the card elements on the dashboard, right? So now we've got a little bit of more space here. And there is actually, it may be hard to see, a touch more space in the grid itself in between each of the rows. One thing you'll also notice in the grid is we added some what we call zebra striping. It's kind of this alternating white and light gray row highlighting color, where this should help improve the scannability of grid views. So when you're looking across a row, you can really know what you're looking at and not get lost in all the different data. Same with selection states. You click on something, we highlight that cell, highlight that row to make sure you know that that is what has actually been selected. Now, one of the other things we talked about was the use of shadows and elevation. You'll notice that we kind of really pulled back from a lot of the box-in-box UI treatment that we had in our older experience. I'll flip back to that. Right, we've got a lot of gray lines here, a lot of boxes and boxes. We want to soften that, and so you see a little bit more use of shadow, a little less use of harder lines in the overall UI treatment. We also worked a lot on our fonts. So we pulled in a brand new font for the product, and we worked a lot on unifying the different font sizes and weights that we use across the product, right? And the idea behind that is to also, again, reduce the cognitive load for our users. So we'll have less sort of that question of, well, this font looks different than that font. Is there a different meaning between those two things? When in actuality, in many cases, there wasn't a different meaning. So we want to spend some time unifying those fonts. Moving on, so flow buttons and shortcut panel buttons have been improved. We want to bring forth a similar height for all of our buttons and shortcut panels. In the old experience, we'll look at that, right? Buttons and search bars are all kind of the different heights here. But the feedback we got was that people would get lost around what was actually being hovered on or selected. And so by going and improving those hover states and lighting up those buttons in a really modern way, people know exactly what it is that they're hovering over, selecting, and clicking on. So search lights up in this really nice way. That also applies to search within grid views and also applies to our go-to search. You'll even notice within go-to, we updated the look and feel for this as well. We brought that new font in, worked on unifying some of the sizes and weights there, so that you get this really nice sort of not only hover experience where you see that little blue bar to the left of the thing that you're hovering on, but you can really easily read the things that are in there. And then that extends even then to some of our menus, right? So for those of you that are admins that are looking at this, we have expanded some of the power, but also the look and feel of our menus. We've brought search into nearly all of our drop downs here, so you can easily search for the things that you're looking for in the type of resource you're looking for. We moved away from text-based buttons in the old experience, which we'll go back to. If you're in your admin menu, you have edit, 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 which we thought was a little redundant. So now on hover, you hover over the resource you're looking at, it'll light up, you'll get a little pencil icon that indicates to you they can go and edit that particular resource. And similarly for buttons, you want to add a dashboard, you click on new dashboard, etc. So talking about the admin menu, that's actually one of the two functional changes we made. If you're an admin or a super admin, in the old experience, we heard that folks would always have to continually click on the admin menu to open it up, and they would always just leave it open. So we took that feedback in, and we've now applied that admin menu is now always available to you. No longer do you need to click in and select the admin menu to open it. It's always available to you, so you have easy access to those resources. The second functional change that I'll highlight to you is around our dashboard navigation. And so we heard from our customers that the tabs navigation was easy to get lost in. Even though we highlight the selected dashboard and we underline it, people would get lost as to what dashboard they're actually on. And I got compounded by some of you might have many dashboards that run across this whole top section here, and then you get that little double right-hand arrow. You click that and you'll get a list of additional dashboards. If you drill into one of those dashboards, you really kind of lose where you're going. So we wanted to bring more prominence to the dashboard selector. And so that's where this comes in. This is this new UI treatment that we have on there. So if you hover over the dashboard selector, you'll see it immediately change color and light up. You know that you can click on it at any point and you'll get your list of dashboards there. So you'll be able to easily, quickly, and scroll to your other dashboard that you might want to look and navigate to that. Similarly, if you drill into a view such as this, right? We're now kind of drilled into this grid view here. You'll see dashboards up here, right? So you'll know to navigate to your dashboard, you can easily click on that and navigate back to your dashboards. Scroll around a little bit. Some of you that use lanes views would have noticed recently we made some changes to our lanes views in terms of how we apply conditional formatting. We actually rebuilt and rewrote our lanes views from the ground up, and we applied some new UI treatment to it as well. So now conditional formatting, in the past used to be a full card coloring. Now we kind of just apply this left-hand coloring to it, but at the same time also apply the text to the record ID as well. So we think this is going to really improve the experience for our end users. We would love to hear any feedback you guys have, and please reach out to your TrackVia account team with any questions, with any feedback you might have, or drop a question into the comments box. And now I'm going to hand it over to Harlean. She's got some really amazing mobile things that I'm really excited for her to show you.
Great, thanks, Anchal. And yeah, we are very excited about what you just showed us in web. It looks great. And wonderful. So we just saw web. We also have a mobile product that is used heavily and frequently out in the field by our folks who are on the go. So let's take a look at what we have coming forward for the new UI refresh for the mobile app. Before we get to the app itself, let's talk about the people. Let's talk about the user and how we got to this point. Want to thank everybody who responded to our admin survey and everyone who has taken some time from their day to chat with us about TrackVia, what's working, what isn't working, what a better user experience means for you and your users. We appreciate those conversations so much, and it allows us to get to this point where we can bring something new to all of you. We also sometimes get the opportunity to go on site and actually see the software in action, and really do a day in the life of our users and get some great insights into the varied ways that TrackVia is used in the field. And when we think about the field for the mobile user, we really are thinking about anywhere in the world. It could be in an extreme environment. You may or may not actually have some connectivity. You may need to be using TrackVia in an offline mode. And most importantly, they're on the go, right? Not sitting at a desk, not looking at a huge monitor, and they're in some other environment where they are, their number one focus may or may not be on TrackVia, the app in their hand. From those conversations, we had some great feedback and some great insights. And again, thank you all for participating in that. And we look forward to future conversations around moving TrackVia forward. We know that that the app is used as a task-driven way of getting information into the system that is TrackVia. And that's a very, very strong use case, and that is how the mobile app has served our customers and our users. We will continue to serve those customers and those users in the same way we have in the past, through the button-style display on the dashboard. Anchal mentioned that as we move forward with this, we wanted to be cognizant and know that any change that we were making has an impact to someone's ability to do their job. So as we thought about the update that we can make to the UI, we kept that top of mind. And so when we get to see the software, we will you'll be able to see how we took that to heart. Through those conversations, we also saw that there's an insights-driven group of y'all out there who are using the app, but not necessarily to enter data. It's to look at the data that's already in TrackVia. So we have an exciting display of how we translated that into the mobile app. Let's take a look at where we currently are. Now, I know not all of you may have may actually use the current mobile app. So just wanted to kind of set the stage as to where the app currently is. So we have both Android and iOS. We're looking at the same dashboard across tablet and phone across both platforms. But we're not here to look at the past, we're here to look at the future. So let's move forward. So on mobile, we have something that we're now calling the simple dashboard. And this is that task-driven dashboard. It's still displaying the same buttons on the dashboard, But you'll notice that new look and feel, really bringing forward the depth, bringing some theming throughout the entire dashboard, including the background. Buttons look like buttons. There's a different prominence depending on the button type and where and the overall layout of the dashboard. Navigation is the exact same as before. So we're looking here at iOS. iOS and Android do currently have different navigation styles. Those styles continue to be respected across both platforms. Again, top of mind was people are out in the field. Training may not be possible because people are not necessarily always co-located and can't always bring everyone in for a training session. So again, it's about bringing a new look and feel with minimal impact to the daily operations. Very excited about this change and hope that you all are as well. So this is a simple dashboard. So now there's a new term that I'm introducing, a simple dashboard. It's complemented by an enhanced dashboard. And this is something that is a new display representation of the same information, the same dashboard, but we're presenting it with a data forward approach. So it's the same dashboard that we've been looking at. You'll notice now that charts are displaying directly on the dashboard, and on Android, lanes will display directly on a dashboard that is for the enhanced dashboards. You'll also note.
That's so cool. That's so cool. I love that.
Great. Yeah. So, and you'll also notice another cool thing that we hope everyone loves as well is we've brought forward what we're calling hero data. And if you look at, there's certain buttons that will have a number sitting on them. If for grid views, there will be a number displayed directly on the button on the dashboard. And that represents the number of records that are sitting within that view. And that can drive either the user knows that they need to tap that button, or they know that they don't. And they know that they don't, perhaps by now the 0 that is displaying on this flow button. If the grid is the first step in a flow, we are presenting the hero data. So in this case, the user would know that there are no actions for them to take within that first step of the flow. And so they can avoid tapping into the flow and then having to exit the flow as they previously had done before. We're very excited about bringing that efficiency to our end users daily tasks and daily operations. So I wanted to just show everything side by side before we jump into what we're really all here to see, which is working software. But just giving that visual presentation. This is the same dashboard across devices. This is the Android presentation, and it's the same dashboard. One is in simple, and simple again is available and will display on both phone and tablet. And then the new enhanced dashboard option being displayed side by side, just so everyone can see the visual display and the differences between the two, even though they actually are the same. So with that, let's jump into the demo. And this, I will be the first to admit, this is a recorded demo of the app that is currently wrapping up development. So if you all, we do have a preview program that is available if you all would like to see the app in your environment with this new UI. Please reach out to your CSMs. Please reach out to support. We can get this into your hands so that you can literally get this into your hands and use it within your environment. But let's take a look at what what we have. So I just launched the app, and you'll notice immediately there are some skeleton views. The app launch is a little different, a little softer. Now just pause and let people take a look. So what I did there is I just tapped into to a button that showed that there were 5 records, and I knew to take that action because of that hero data. And I'm looking at the lanes view here, and I can scroll and see the different records that are in different statuses. And then I can take a look at this this chart that's now on the dashboard. And as the manager, I know that Sloan needs some work, so I'm going to work on getting her a work order assigned. Then I jump over to another dashboard, and I have a flow, and there's no steps, there's no records in there. I know I don't need to put any attention there. I can see that there are 2 items pending completion. And now I'm going to scroll through the charts that now display on my enhanced dashboard. And I can quickly scan. If there's anything I need to drill into, I can take this opportunity, open it up into the full screen view. We did make some enhancements to how those displayed as well. And then I can quickly change over to another app. I'm going to pause here for just a moment. What we're looking at here is a simple dashboard. So I'm logged in as the same person. I'm in a different app, and I can see a different dashboard style. So as admins, you can align the dashboard display to the responsibilities of the user within a given app. So there's some flexibility in there as well. And then as we're looking at this simple dashboard, we're looking again at a flow button. We have a grid view with more than 25 records in it. And right below that is our new presentation style of a shortcut panel. And then again, right below that, we have more buttons because this is a simple dashboard, so everything is displayed in that button style. And just as before, you can tap into a button and it will open up to the underlying data. There we go, right into the large view of the map. And then we'll back out of that. And we're going to go to one more app. So as a manager, I have a team, and I can, again, quickly come in here and take a look, see that I'm up to date on all my managerial responsibilities because of the hero data showing a 0. There are no records in there. And then being able to also just quickly scan the rest of the information that's on here. So the overall hiring, viewing records by status directly on the dashboard, and then knowing that we have some open positions. There's no records for me to look at, and that's actually something that I need to go take action on because we want to have candidates to review. So the 0 can either drive action or cannot drive action. All depends on the use case, all depends on the app and the situation. We'll pause again before we head over to view more charts. You'll notice that there are 2 new button styles that are on this dashboard. We have one HR documents and then my team metrics. Those are actually shortcut panels. And we decided to take the concept of data forward and apply that also to, that means navigation is secondary for people when they're using the enhanced dashboard. But if you tap on one of these buttons, it opens up the shortcut panel in a modal, and the same information that's available on that simple dashboard on the web is available through that modal, and you can continue through and navigate through the app itself. And then moving over to the charts as well. So as you can see, all the different chart styles that are supported within TrackVia are available to display directly on the dashboard for an enhanced dashboard. There's also a few other small changes we make that I think are helpful and will improve the all over readability with charts. You'll notice the labels on the bottom axis now sit at an angle, whereas previously they lay flat with the axis. We saw some issues where the labels would overlap. So we took this opportunity, thinking about usability and readability and bringing the most value to each chart. We put that at a 45-degree angle so that it's more readable and it's more legible, and the value that is being delivered by the chart is fully capable of being achieved. So again, and I'll pause one more time, wanted to highlight that as the user scrolls on the screen, we are collapsing the upper top bar, as we've been referring to it, to maximize the amount of screen that the user can view the data. So as they're scrolling up, we're collapsing that, still have full navigation capability, but really optimizing in that moment the display for the intent of the user at that given time. And then scrolling down redisplays that as well. And then clicking in again, looking at the large screen of the chart. You'll notice when I came back to the dashboard that you saw again that concept of a skeleton view, that something is happening. When you come back to a dashboard, all of the data is being refreshed to the latest that is in TrackVia within the system. So if I go off somewhere else and come back, that hero data is updated, and all of the underlying data for the charts is also being updated, so that you are seeing that real-time in the moment data if anything has changed. And with that, we'll take a little more look at another chart type, and this one really highlighted the bottom axis and the display there. And with that, that is the new TrackVia mobile dashboard experience, highlighting both the simple dashboard and also the enhanced dashboard.
Oh, that's really great. How would you go about toggling that enhanced dashboard? Is that something that can be toggled?
That's a great question, and thank you for bringing that up. So yes, the enhanced dashboard is a choice. It is something that the admin selects for the limited user. So, and by default, when this rolls out, all limited users will be pre-selected for the simple dashboard. Again, keeping top of mind that we don't want to introduce change to someone who is out in the field and their app updates. So all limited users will have that toggle set to the simple dashboard, and that is a new setting within the roles section of TrackVia. You can come in and select and change that toggle to enhanced, and upon saving that setting, and when the user next opens the app, they would see the change where for any apps where they are set to an enhanced dashboard, they'll see that enhanced dashboard. Now for admins, all admins will receive the enhanced dashboard when they are on a tablet. So that again, the enhanced dashboard is solely a display style that is available for the tablet. Anchal, thanks for that question. It's an important distinction as we roll out a new display style for our users. We look forward to seeing how people help people put that into use. And now is the time we want to answer your questions. And we want to leave you, this is the new TrackVia across all of the different device types, whether it's web, you're on a phone, a tablet, and if you've selected that new enhanced display for your dashboard.
All right, fantastic. Alrighty, let's take a look at the questions. All right, I think the one that I've seen a few times here is, when will this be released? It's a great question, so thank you for asking that. We are targeting starting to roll this out to our early adopters next week. So it's coming soon. So if you're part of our early adopter program, you'll start seeing that next week. And for general availability for all of our customers will be the week of the 22nd of June. So keep an eye out for that.
Great, and I see another question here. Can you have a simple dashboard set for one dashboard, but an enhanced for another? That's a great question, and that was something we thought about. You know, how's the best way to roll this out for that initial kind of availability to our customers? So the toggle applies to all dashboards for that given role. Now, if you're in a different app, if the same person has access to a different app, it could be simple in one app and enhanced in another app. One thing to keep in mind is that what is being brought forward for that data forward approach on the enhanced dashboard is grids and, sorry, not grids, is charts across both iOS and Android, and also lanes on Android. So any of the other view types or forms are still going to be displayed in that button style. So it is possible to have a dashboard for someone in a role where the enhanced dashboard is selected, and all they see on that dashboard is our buttons. It's still in that button style, if there are no charts and if there are no lanes on that dashboard. So that's our initial, that is the current rollout and how that setting is applied to dashboards. Great question.
Okay, let's see. What do we think the most important info to share with end users prior to rollout? That's another great question. I think at least for web, the most important thing would be the dashboard selector. So that's probably the main functional change that any web user would see. We are going to be providing a little bit of a first run experience. I'll point that out for the first time anyone logs into the to TrackVia after rollout. So I think that'll help, let your users know that, hey, there's something new here, and this is how you get to those dashboards. On mobile, Harlean, what do you think might be the most important thing to share?
Oh, the most important thing to share. Really, we so took into consideration minimizing the need for training. Most important thing to share would be that the functionality right on that simple dashboard has not changed. It's the same down to the navigation. I see there's another question in here that kind of dovetails on that. Will iOS look the same as Android? It is the same across the two platforms. They are very, very similar. Again, the navigation on iOS and Android is slightly different. Right now we're looking at the Android implementation for the phone, and then the enhanced dashboard has the iOS navigation style. We respected those navigation styles going forward, but as far as the buttons and the shortcut panels and the new display style, really for anything within that dashboard that's been built out, it is the same across both iOS and Android. So from a training perspective, you can train on one and it applies to both. great question.
All right, on desktop, any chance of future updates to allow the option of increased screen density? Yeah, that's great feedback. We really appreciate you asking that, and it's something that we have thought about here on the product team, but it's not in this included in this release. For you who asked that question, we would love to chat with you and learn more about the ask there to better understand that question. So I think one of our success managers will be reaching out to hear more.
Let's see, it looks like we have another mobile question that has come in. Will the order of the dashboard be able to get changed on a mobile view versus the order they display on a PC? Oh, that's a great question. So currently with this, no. We're respecting the same order. And again, that was to minimize the overall changes that would happen to an end user. But for whomever asked that question, I would love to, and our product team would really like to chat more with you about that particular request. So I will echo what Anchal just said and ask that you reach out to your customer success manager or to support, and we can set up some time to talk more and dig in deeper on what your thoughts are on that and learn more about how that would benefit your end users in your business.
Perfect, awesome. Well, we just want to say thank you everyone for joining. If we didn't get to your question, one of our TrackVia team members will be reaching out to make sure you get your question answered. Just to reiterate, we are starting to roll this out next week, and looks like we're actually starting general availability next week, which is fantastic. So definitely please be on the lookout for our new UI that'll be hitting your screens soon. So thank you everyone for joining. I really appreciate you spending some time with us. Look for the recording coming through to your inbox here soon. And if you have any further questions, reach out to your TrackVia contact. I hope you all have a great day.